Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about to be continued. Please don't mind whatever is happening right now. I think the shadow is because I don't have my normal lights in here, and so it's like a little dark in this room. But what made me want to call this to be continued is funny story. Earlier today, I created this whole video that I was going to upload and the sound went out for some reason. So I have to work some kind of technical, issue in the background with the recording device that I was on to see what the issue was and why the recording didn't happen. And I did test it before and it looked like everything was working properly. And then all of a sudden, I'm on here tonight, getting ready for bed, and I just decided to throw on this hat because I'm about to put my hair up, wrap it in a scarf, the whole nine, everything else. And so I was like, well, let me come on here and at least do something quick that can be like some sort of inspiration. And really I can't be on here too long because I do want to get up early. I'm not probably not going to do the 5 a.m. I'm going to do 20. So I do want to make sure that I exercise and that I am focusing in on God and I'm reading my Bible or, meditating and have a vision for the type of future that I aspire to have. And I run it by God, of course. And then I also want to learn something for the last 20 minutes while I'm getting ready. And I want to make sure I'm intentional every single morning, seeking God first above everything else, because then everything else will be given unto me that I need. And I don't want to just live my life going like this. I'm trying to stay intentional. And so what made me want to call this to be continued. One is because of the video not uploading and because it didn't, record properly. And two is because sometimes in our lives, what we'll do is something horrible will happen, or, we'll lose a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a family member, we'll have a fallout with a family member or a friend, or maybe the friend can't go with you into the next season or the family member. Sometimes we even feel forgotten and we feel like maybe God forgot about us. Maybe God didn't remember that I'm here. Maybe God doesn't remember that I still aspire to be married. Maybe God doesn't know that I still aspire to help people. Maybe God doesn't know that I'm still working on my purpose. And for me, like one of the things that I thought about when I felt like I was forgotten is I was like, I'm doing everything right. So why does it seem like God didn't remember me? And let me just be clear in saying that I always knew God didn't forget about me, but I did feel forgotten in a moment. And so it wasn't that I ever believed that God wasn't who he said he was. It wasn't that I ever believed that God wasn't going to come through. It was just like, and I had a moment where I just really felt like, wow, God, I'm listening, I'm serving, I'm being intentional, I'm focusing in on you. I'm not settling for anything less than what you have for me. And it just seems like all the people around me who were saying, well, I'm just going to settle for this. All the people around me who were like, well, this is as good as it gets. All the people around me who, were just settling for a person just to be with somebody just because they gave them attention. All the people around me who, were just doing whatever, just settling for less than God's best for them. It just felt like they were winning. And I don't want to say winning in that way because God provided me all of my needs. Like he made sure that I had a house, a car, clothes on my back, food in the refrigerator. He made sure that I had everything that I needed in my life. I don't, and at the moment in the season that I'm in, obviously I don't need a man, but I will need my kingdom spouse in the future when God appoints the right time for that person to be presented into my life, or when that person reappears, is what I should say. And so I I never felt like God really truly, just felt like this moment of forgottenness. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just kind of felt like I was doing the right thing and it wasn't happening for me, but it was happening for everyone else. And it wasn't that I wanted what other people had. It was that I had standards and boundaries that I wanted for my life. Like I didn't want to just settle for any guy. I wanted to settle for the guy that God had for me. I didn't want to just settle for the career. I wanted to be in a place that God said I'm supposed to be in, with his approval, with his discernment. I didn't want to just have friends just to be in a group of people who didn't want the best for me. I wanted an A team with people who can be real with me, with people who really do want the best for me. And I didn't just want family. Family is whatever you make it, you know. I wanted real people who genuinely care about my well being, who would want to see me win, who aren't afraid to tell me the truth, like to be real and honest with me in a nice way, like in the best of ways. Some people are just like straight shooters, which I love. Some people are rude when they're presenting their message. But if their heart is in the right place and they don't mean it from a tearing you down, trying to hurt you kind of way, then most of the time I can take it the right way. And I say most of the time because I am human. And sometimes, you know, some things do affect me because they're people that I know. You know, it's not just like I just don't want to accept constructive criticism. Sometimes it's real harsh. And it's like, ooh, you know, that I almost caught that one, you know. And with God, that's why I love the relationship that I have with God, because God is a straight shooter. Like, he'll be like, oh, like that time you put up a wall and you blocked out all the people that I was going to bless you with. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, like that time that, and I already told you this, and you wanted to do your own thing. And he doesn't like rub it in my face or anything, but he is like to the point, like, you want this? Okay, this is what you have to do. Oh, you're going to act like this? Remember what I had for you. I'm not going to give it to you if you're going to act like that. Like, you got to act like you was raised right in these streets. And so I'm like, oh, you're so right, God. Like, there was that time that I was putting up this barrier wall, this whole thing around me of protection, when God was already protecting me, when he already had a hedge of protection around me. And I felt like I needed to do God's job. And, you know, it says to guard your heart, but you don't put up a barrier, you know. And God like really got on me and was like, you know, you're serving and you're intentional and you're doing the right thing. But with you putting up a wall against you and other people and pushing people away, you're not going to let the blessings come in either. Because how can I bless you when it's going to be a person, a blessing attached to a person? And I was like, whew, okay, God, you know, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And so I had to be real with myself and understand that in order for me to get the blessings God has for me, I'm going to have to break down that wall. Yes, I need to guard my heart, but I also need to allow the right people in. I need to pray to God for discernment of the person and spirit so I can make sure that I'm allowing the right people to be a part of my life, to get to know me. Because there's people who really intentionally were trying to get to know me, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get out of my own way, you know. And God is saying, listen, you need to definitely allow me to do my job. You just need to be you and the best version of yourself, and I will take care of the rest. And so I just want to say for everybody out there, and I'm going to try to make this short and then close it out. Every person that's out there, know that that one bad thing, that person that left, that job that's no longer there, or that friend that you don't have anymore, it's just a page in your story. It's not your whole life. It's to be continued. God still has more to your story as long as you're breathing. So don't ever feel like that thing, that one moment defines your entire life. That is just a moment in your life. That's not your whole life. Allow that thing to become a lesson so that you can move forward, so that you can grow, so that you can become everything that God created you to be. Because everything that you learn through a life lesson, everything that has left you, every person that you meet along the way teaches you something. And I was in counseling earlier today, and I learned that the person who isn't a part of my life taught me a lot. It taught me how to be willing to open up to somebody. Like, I wasn't ready then, but it showed me what I needed to do so I could be in a position to be ready. I wasn't, you know, was kind of thinking of things from my perspective and not that person's perspective. And it really taught me to see things from somebody else's perspective and not just look at it from my narrow thought, from where I am, you know, or what I've been through, but really understand that not every person is me. Every person is themselves, you know. And one tip that I want to throw out there that I learned like back in the day is, or as soon as I became single, is, you know, you really have to let people be who they are. And I know, like, for me, I never wanted to feel like I had to be somebody else to be with somebody else. I always wanted to just be myself. And I feel like that's how everybody is. Everybody wants to be who they truly are and not feel like they have to pretend to be somebody else. And when they feel like they have to put on this mask or this fake persona just to impress you, that's more of a reason for them not to, want to be around you or want to be with you. Because, like, every person, like, if I'm with someone, I want to truly be able to be myself. I don't want to feel like I have to pretend to be something else just to please somebody else, because I'm only trying to please God. Sorry. I got so when I took my shower tonight, I had, like, first of all, I got oil on my shirt. That's what that spot is, just to let people know. And then on top of that, I also, like, my towel that I have is like has little balls of like cotton that's coming off of it. And so I went to like dry off and I have like little pieces of stuff all over me. And so in the morning when I work out, I'm gonna have to use a new towel because obviously I can never use that towel again. And so it's just the whole thing. But listen, I don't want to make this too long and get off topic like I usually do. And so I just want to say, don't feel like whatever's happening in your life is the end of your story. Until you take your last breath, you literally have so many more opportunities to be better, to do better, to be everything God created you to be. Don't allow that thing to shape you, because it's just a moment. It's not your entire life. And so whenever you get down or something's happening or you can't have that person, just remember that that's not the end of your story. That person might be long gone, but listen, God has so much more for your life. You are not determined by one person, one job, one car, one house, one thing. God determines who you are. Remember whose you are and who you are, and everything is going to be okay.